What is up YouTube and welcome back to another RiftGuides WildRift video. It's time for a tier list and honestly speaking, not much has changed. WildRift patches usually operate in the way where not much changes in general within a single or multiple patches. That sounds kind of weird, but it is just how it is. Like if you look at the older tier lists, most of the champions, unless they got severely gutted, have still the same placements like they have before. As for this tier list, the champions within the tier are not ordered by strength, it's simply just a tier, and I just have a few tiers. S, A, and B. B is basically unusable, you should stay away from. A is okay or off meta, and S is meta. And the SS, or the highest pick here, is basically the pick of the patch, which I view as the best possible pick. Let's start with the Baron lane as per usual. Fiora is still by far the best carry champion in the sense of completely stomping you and winning side lane. Her biggest weakness, however, is team fighting. She can't really approach from the front and she has to flank or ambush people, then she has high value. Other champions that are very good within this tier, for example, are going to be Gwen, Wukong. Renekton is a pretty good staple, Darius is very good, Jax is insane, Aatrox, and Set. All the other champions are not really that powerful in direct comparison, however still have value depending on the situation you pick them into. Just something to have to bear in mind is champions such as, for example, Riven and Camille are really not that powerful in the Baron as they take some extra time to scale up to be useful, and Riven is just way better in the jungle department. The A tier here again is something you'd rather stay away from. Even the recent buffs to Urgot don't really make him S tier material, simply due to the limited use this champion has. And yeah, B tier champions, stay away as far as you can, unless you really enjoy them. As for the champion here in the tank tier, we have Poppy as the best champion. This champion is insanely powerful, wins every lane in the game, unless the enemy has the ability to not play, which is very unlikely, and she can stack a wave and dive you with the jungle, which makes it literally impossible. Nonetheless, she gets outscaled. That is something you have to keep in mind, so you have to look for the game to end relatively early in the sense of mid-game, or you still turn into a useful champion that just simply goes for higher priority targets, but on side lane as the game goes on, you'll get absolutely ran over by meta champions. If you personally struggle in the Baron lane and don't really know what to play and want something super easy, honestly just lock in Garen. He's probably the easiest champion you can play up there. You just third ability or E every single wave and just do it on repeat. Level 5 you have kill pressure thanks to your ignite, Q and ult combo, and you have infinite sustain thanks to your passive and second wind. For the jungle tier list, we have Aatrox as the most powerful demon champion you can have a look at. This champion is simply unbalanced. If you want other champions similar to Aatrox, you have to look at all the reset champions. There we have Viego, we have Aatrox, we have also lovely Kha'Zix is a pretty decent reset champion, and obviously Riven. These champions are absolute demons when it comes to carrying games, and you have to be really careful when facing them. Other champions that will stat check you to Narnia are going to be Lee Sin and Vi. These champions are relatively easy to play in a skill floor level, but if you want to consistently carry games, Lee Sin is going to be super tough to use, but Vi is going to be a super easy champion, yet super unbalanced. Super tanky, super high damage. Other champions that are super high impact but require you to actually play well are going to be Kindred and Nidalee. Honestly speaking, it's not worth putting time to these champions unless you want to really invest a lot of time into them, because they are significantly harder to make work than all the other available champions that are high up the meta. I want to put emphasis again that the champions within the tier are not ordered at all. Please keep that one in mind. Severely underrated champions within the S tier are going to be Shyvana. Wukong's not really underrated, he's pretty good already. Pantheon is underutilized, and obviously Kayn. All the other champions you see more or less a lot more frequently, but so yeah, keep that one in mind. But champions within the A tier such as Gwen, Rengar, Talon, all of these champions are way harder to use, have slower clears, or require a specific skill set or a lot of time investment to make them work at all, even more than the other champions. Like, you can play Kindred and Nidalee at the same time, but if you want to play Rengar, you probably have to invest a lot of time, even way more, and literally becoming a one-trick to making this champion work. Don't get me wrong, this champion isn't bad, and if you play him really well, it's easily S tier. However, the problem with this champion is, if you invest an equal amount of time into any other champion within the S tier, you'll just be way better off. So yeah, keep them one in mind. For the B tier, all the champions in here are kinda bad when it comes to either farming or consistently ganking or just having a good clear. Keep that one in mind. Fiddlestick's not really a champion, I hate to break it to you. He suffers way too much. But there's one big problem when it comes to jungle, which is usually completely ignored. It's the fact that jungle only gets punished by people who know what to do. So in most of the games you'll be playing, let's say, for example, your Emerald, you'll rarely see people invade properly, punish you for your weak champions, or just understand where to be and why to be there and why not to be there. With that happening, your champion suddenly gains a lot of value and you get the perception that the champion is actually good because other people don't know what to do. And then you have games with like 10 game win streak on Fiddlesticks, and then suddenly, let's say you climb and you start playing against better players and they just completely roll over you and you're like, what? But what? It just worked before. And then we have the MMR and etc. like in context as well. But yeah, Fiddlesticks is not a good champion, but if you really like him, feel free to play the champion, but I can really not recommend you doing so. As for the tank department, many people will be like, no, but Rammus has been nerfed and he's so weak. Yes, he got nerfed, but it doesn't change anything about his gameplay loop and how annoying he is and why he's annoying. So he's still the most potent ganker out there with the highest success rate in that regard. So if you want to play tank and you really don't want to be efficient with your jungle clear, worry too much about how to play the actual game to its fullest, but want to play your own little game, then Rammus has the ability to completely dodge the rules of the game, similar to a Singed or like a Nunu, and just be very proactive on the map and hope to get your lanes ahead and then snowball the game through that. Keep in mind that is still inconsistent and you as a player are more reliant on other people doing so, but if that's what you enjoy, please go forward in doing so. All the other champions in the S tier are similar to what they've been before, not much has changed. Keep in mind, it's not a direct comparison between carry and tank tier, it's just within, like, carry and tank tier are completely independent of each other. It's just something that you have to keep in mind. If you want to play a tank, you should choose from them, and they are good or bad or worse. Now let's move over to the mid lane tier list, and here we have to just say Aurora is the by far best champion. It's not even close, she's by far the best, nothing even comes close. Full stop, period, end of story, no room for discussion. All the other champions within the S tier, for example, the quote-unquote newly nerfed Zoe, I talked about this in the recent video, where I basically say that the nerfs to Zoe primarily target her early game snowball potential, but don't matter as much, once she's past her boot stage. Have to keep in mind though, nerfing snowball potential makes it so that champions will have less gold or less access to gold, which means they might not run away with the game. Nonetheless, given Zoe's rotation and playstyle, once you get hit by the bubble post 5, or rather post Boots of Mana, you'll lose half of your HP, or at least get into lethal range for the next rotation. So nothing changes in that regard, it's just the early game cheesing power that has been lowered. So you still die to Zoe if you mess up. All the other champions within the S tier are still going strong, Heimerdinger being completely underrated, Lux being able to just play any lane, Morgana being able to play any lane and just AFK their way, but there's one thing I have to tell you. Please do not blind pick Morgana. Morgana is a conditional pick that is broken under certain conditions. Do not blind this champion, otherwise your jungle is going to hate you, despise you, and find you. The problem is this champion just doesn't do anything outside of clearing wave, and it doesn't do consistently in the early game. Yeah, like you need your first base, you need your boots of mana, you need access to that infinite mana pool through these boots, and then the fast wave clear after only cannon minions roll into the lane. Before that, the game might be really troublesome, plus you don't really have damage outside hitting your first ability, which then sets up for a potential kill. Other champions in the S tier like Vel'Koz, super powerful, Annie, super amazing, Ryze conditional into meta champions, Syndra, super good staple, Orianna, absolutely broken staple as well, but none of them can really compare with Aurora. Champions in the A tier do basically anything or everything champions in the S tier do, just worse. For example, Lissandra, highly committal, countered by Clutch, just doesn't do enough damage. Meanwhile, on the other hand, you have Annie, which just absolutely nukes you. But on the flip side, if you play Duke with Lissandra, you can go for better rotations, better dives, easier traps, etc. But Annie in general is just superior as a champion. Now for the assassin tier, even though Aurora might be an assassin, she needs to be at least put into the god or best tier because she's so strong, so powerful, so versatile in the way she can approach plays, due to stealth and just overall outplay potential, it's obscene. Other champions here, like Ahri in the assassin tier, are similar in power, but not, it's not close. But at least they are broken in their own regards. Lich Bane and Malignants are really powerful in the champion, so you have to have that one on your radar. Akali, really easy to use to kill people, however really hard to carry games with. Kassadin, absolutely insane champion damage-wise, going absolutely crazy, so you have to have that one on your mind and on your radar all the time. And unique champions, like for example Pyke, are reserved for one tricks but have really high impact if you want to walk the extra mile and invest extra time and play mechanically super well. If you want to play the easy version of Pyke, just play Echo. It's like the AP version somewhat. You just first ability the wave, constantly invade and just fight, and you most of the time just win because you stat check people. Unless you fall behind, then you start having problems. If you want an underrated champion that has potential for being absolutely insane in the right conditions, plus you understand the champion well, it's going to be Katarina. Katarina is a champion I would maybe even put into the S tier if executed properly because of how much damage she does and how fast she does it. Nonetheless, she's not as easy to execute and suffers a lot from many factors in the game and requires the enemy to be quote-unquote bad in order for her to gain access to gold, to then turn the game into a huge cluster, can't say the word, and just one-shotting people because she's fed. Now for the other tier, Yasuo's still by far the best champion here, countering all mages make it impossible to play, having the wind wall, blocking projectiles, just being annoying, hyperscaling, absolute demon. If there are things that I want to talk about that are completely underrated in mid lane, it's still going to be Corki, he neutralizes matchups. It's going to be also Nasus. No mage can break Nasus. It's not possible, because he has way too much sustain, he can play with teleport and ghost and cannot be broken, and the moment he has access to ultimate, boots and sheen, the mage just gets withered and ran down. He also has pretty good gank setup with the wither, so you have to keep that one in mind. So yeah, Nasus is a pretty sketchy champion to deal with, but if there's one thing that limits Nasus from being absolutely omega super hyper omega broken, it's the fact that he has to reach people, and if the enemy team has too much CC, he can barely reach, but the moment he reaches, he absolutely one-taps you. Compared to, for example, an Urgot, who will never ever one-tap you in the same manner while being as tanky as a Nasus would be. Plus, Nasus has the ability to just go side lane and one-shot towers with the power of his ultimate, which barely has any cooldown. We love Nasus. Other champions within the A tier, feel free to play them, but they're not even remotely as powerful as your champions within the S tier and B tier. These are some old relics of the past, if I'm honest. I could basically just remove them, which I'll probably do in the video, so yeah. Now let's talk AD carries. Previously, before all the nerfs, Varus has been the best champion ever. Way too overtuned. Now after all the nerfs, his place is taken by the one and only Lucian. Playing this champion with an army or a Melio is absolutely grotesque and way too overtuned and should probably get nerfed. It's kind of confusing that these champions have not been nerfed properly in a way that it tackles the champion. Remember the last nerf Lucian got? It was like a passive rated nerf if I'm not mistaken. And in all honesty, it was way more placebo than anything else. It didn't really change anything. And suddenly people dropped playing the champion, which made no sense. Champion was still broken. Melio has a unique interaction. For example, Melio's W empowers, like every single healing tick of Melio's W triggers Lucian's passive, which then makes his next auto attacks deal more damage. So you have to keep that one in mind as well. So this is a pretty insane interaction, and now just at super high burst damage to the mix. Other champions that you probably completely underestimate right now is going to be Misfortune. Can neutralize every lane, deals insane damage, insane teamfight value, and overall really powerful as a champion. Super bully during the lane as well, thanks to Q bounces. Champions that people put under the radar for zero reason, in this regard, is going to be Corki. They believe that the nerf to this passive completely got the champion, when in fact that isn't even true. It's more about you having to understand to play around power spikes, and then once you reach them, you absolutely crush people. That is something that you have to think about. Varus, on the other hand, due to the changes to this champion, he's not as powerful early on, which means you have to play a little bit more reserved. You can't just stat check people level 1, level 2 and just run at them anymore, so you have to wait for spikes to roll in. AP Varus, still by far the best possible Varus that exists. Keep in mind, Nash's Tooth, Amplifying Tomb, because you want to turn AP, and then Runans. Ashe is broken due to how much damage she does into utility, and when it comes to overall champions that win level 1 brutally, that just run at you and kill you, well, Ezreal and Draven. And here's a unique tip for every single Jhin user. If you don't know what happens in lane, you don't trust your support, you're completely left alone, place your traps in front of your tower. That way you'll always get all the minions, or the majority of the minions, even if you get dove. And even if you die, you get the minions and the enemy cannot take down the tower. So that is something you can utilize, or put down these traps into side lanes close to the tower so you can get some extra gold where you can farm gold on the other side of the map. So it's all about efficiency. Now let's talk about the A tier. Sivir, honestly, in solo queue sucks. Takes too long to scale, doesn't do enough damage. Caitlyn doesn't do enough damage. Nyla, highly conditional pick. If it's a good game, it's absolutely busted. Zeri, after the rework, absolutely dead, doesn't do enough, needs to be buffed immediately. But the problem is they want to make her a blind pickable champion when she was a conditional anti-shield champion, and unless they overbuff her to make her broken, the champion will stay useless. Kai'Sa, terrible champion right now, needs way too long to scale. Jinx, terrible champion right now, needs way too long to scale. Tristana, probably the best out of all of these champions within the A tier, simply for the fact that on level 5 she can actually one-shot you with the bomb. So probably closer to the S tier than any other champion. Twitch doesn't do anything in lane, it takes too long to scale. B, Vayne just doesn't do damage, can't even kill tanks in a reasonable amount of time. Keep in mind, reasonable amount of time, because she also dies if people jump her. Akshan just too low range, and Kalista, her strongest state in the game is level 1, where you can get killed by her, but she suffers from facing CC and overall just mages that can block her pathing. If there's nothing that can block her and she's fat, she's gonna roll over you, but it's just AD carry for you. Mages, Ziggs the most consistent one out of all of them. Throw bomb, clear wave, clear objective, be happy. All the other champions do the job less consistent or less powerful, so that is what you have to keep in mind. The primary things for mages in bot lane is how good is your wave clear, be it level 1 or post boots, how good is the impact on the map while having to farm, how safely can you farm, and how much damage can you deal in the grand or bigger area, and how reliably you can do this. So it's like the criteria here. Now let's briefly talk about supports. Nautilus, still the best engaged support, highest damage potential, highest tankiness potential, an absolute demon champion. Rel, a champion that can directly deal with Nautilus because you can remove or deal with the shield, but on the other hand, she doesn't really do damage, she's mainly CC, which means in a solo queue context, you should probably not pick her, but in a more competitive environment or team environment, the champion increases in value brutally due to how annoying it is to play against her. And yeah, there's not much to add here, like every other champion in the S tier is either super tanky, has super reliable engage, or both at the same time, or offer other utilities like for example Ornn, that can make you craft items and have super long engage, Paul PT9 and dash champion, Nunu being really good into tanks and having overall really good teamfight presence by having space or creating space, Alistair with insane flanks, Leona with insane engages, like Set also with insane engage, especially to high HP targets, dealing so much damage, and then every other champion that is a tier lower does all the things the other champions do, just less good. That's why they're lower tier. Protect tier. Well, Milio still absolutely disgusting to face, ban every game. Close to that one we have Nami, just being an absolute Lucian powerhouse. Braum making your life miserable. So if you want to ban, like if you want to have like broken protect champions, it's like Nami, it's Braum. You can look at Lulu even, and obviously Yumi if you don't want to face it. Any other champion here apart from Zilean is not as potent. Zilean is an absolute lane basically neutralizer. He stops you from playing the game and it makes it very much impossible to snowball games, but all the other champions are possible to play into. As for the carry champions, we have Bard here with the best possible damage you have. Can basically turn every game around due to this ultimate. Can also mess up every game if you mess that one up. But yeah, full AP Bard, super high setup, super high damage, super high impact from laning to just overall rotations. It's like the AP version of, yeah, it's like another AP version of Pyke. Like similar to Echo, if you know what I mean. But yeah. Senna, the best physical damage range champion for support. High scaling, highest damage, highest sustain, everything that you want. Karma, really cool utility-based champion with a good option to nuke. Lux only has damage, but you can fish from like safety nets, but you really struggle into hard engage. Like every champion here in the carry department, you have to always think how good can they deal with heavy engage while going full damage. And if you can't go full damage, is there a way of you still dealing damage while going tank versions of your builds? Like for example, Senna can go into a tanky version of a build without losing too much value. Zyra can look into damage items that also have HP to make him more tanky to do the same, but all the other champions can't really do this, and then their value would be basically lowered. But yeah, Bard is probably still the best champion here just for overall map presence and carrying the game and with the potential of the ult. 80 champions, highly conditional, and if you want to have fun into full tanks, like full like if it's a full tank, full melee team, pick up Brand, and then it's absolutely broken. Other than this, stay away from the champion. I hope you like my thoughts about this patch. Maybe a little bit disorganized because I'm just saying and thinking and looking at this at the same time. But I really hope you like it. It gives you a little bit more of a perspective of why I think things are like this. There's so much more in my head. But I think the video would be like 1 hour long. I really don't know if anyone actually cares too much, because if you want to boil it down, pick what's broken and life is good. Like if you look at the tier list, just look at the pick up the patch and the S tier and just pick anything there and you'll be some kind of fine. And yeah, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and come back for more. Bye bye, take care.